back with tarot cards here, and we're going to do some general collective messages. First, I'll clear the energy from these cards here. Clearing. Spirit, will you release to us messages, the highest and greatest good of each and all of the collective, and provide to us some inner work messages with the tarot that will guide us through the next week to make the most of the next week. Ooh, so that flew out, the Ace of Pentacles. This is the gift of manifestation, resourcefulness. Look at those black nails. I wanted to get my nails done for Halloween and I didn't get to, but soon. One soon day. Ace of Pentacles. So this is, embrace the gifts of manifestation. I think this is enjoy it. This came out, flew out easily. I love when that happens. And we've just had, the ends of eclipse season, the 11/11 portal. We've got lots of things that have just happened, and I think this is really just, look at that, ground that's underneath there, and this deals with, resources, so that can be food, things of that nature. This could be a harvest. This could be, reaping rewards. This is something from the divine that you have manifested, probably already coming to you. This isn't about any work that you have to do. This is just potential, knowing that it's coming, knowing that it's there for you already, really, that it's there for you, but it just may not be in front of you, but it's coming. Inner work messages, please, Spirit. What inner work messages do you have for us, for the collective? Good. Nine of Cups. I always call this a boundaries card. Nine of Cups is I have 9 cups. I don't need you. So this is the card before the 10 of Cups, which is family, union, divine, joy. It's just it's everything. And this 9 of Cups to me is I can be on my own as long as possible in order to get to that 10. I'm willing to fill my own cup 9 times over and to find multiple sources for doing so. Pardon me. They've got a stable structure below them. They look, confident. This face, this whole demeanor reminds me of the Empress, but they're facing straight on. And what that usually means in tarot is that they're very present. Looking towards the right tends to indicate looking towards the future, and looking towards the left tends to indicate, for most readers, looking towards the past. This person is looking dead on, breaking through that fourth wall and saying, I see you, I'm here, I'm present, and I'm capable of filling my own cups, and I don't need other people to do that for me, but I want it possibly. But I'm here also willing to spend, like I said, as long as I have to, as long as I need to here in order to find that right counterpart to be going into family making, family creation, co-creation of whatever that is for us, community, in any fashion. I'm drinking hot lemon water. It's not so hot anymore, but it's so good. Okay. And then the third card that fell out was Temperance. I love Temperance. This is an angel who is pouring water between 2 cups, or some kind of, liquid. You assume it's water because there's water beneath them. And so they are, mixing these 2 cups together. And it may not take equal parts of each thing. They have their foot maybe more in the water than on the land, but they're touching the land. They're grounded, and so grounded in the physical realm and grounded in the emotional realm, because they're standing in that river as well. And here we go. Does that help? Yeah. Oh, that was kind of cool looking, huh? So this the sun behind them, the sunflowers. Sunflowers to me mean like strength. Reminds me of like Leo, the lion, the strength card. All those things. The sun, like the sun to me is always about like an inner work. Is always about like shining light on like our shadow parts. And this could be our positive shadow parts that we maybe do not give enough value and attention and compensation to, support and things of that nature. Like maybe we're like, hey, it's okay, I don't need to be valued completely, I'm okay, like I can deal with it. And this is like, we're finding a way to better synthesize and like create what we really want, not what we're willing to settle with. But that's what this seems to me, is that we're going to manifest by keeping our boundaries, respecting our own boundaries. That's really what, like, I think that's an interesting thing, is that we don't create boundaries out of thin air. They're not something that we that are like inherent. Maybe some of them are, but it's just, we respect our own boundaries, or we violate our own boundaries, and therefore then set the stage for other people to do that as well. That doesn't mean that we're giving them permission. That doesn't mean that we are attracting that, and that like consciously or even like subconsciously. I don't like to use that terminology because like I've suffered from sexual violence and things like that, and like you don't want to think that you attract any of that stuff to you. You really don't. But you do. People notice how we do or do not set boundaries, and how we do or do not hold boundaries, and therefore then they choose to act based on that. Sometimes some people look for people who have a willingness to self-sabotage or whatever, but like to overstep our own boundaries. We have a willingness to violate our own boundaries because we don't like respect them as much as we maybe respect or desire to have connection or desire to have belonging. And a lot of times that's what, like for me personally, that's what's been tied to, is that if I'm violating a boundary, it's because I am feeling put in a situation and feeling like I'm in a situation that reminds me of a time when I had to violate my boundaries as a child in order to feel like I belonged and had access to safety and safety was the biggest reason. Safety and resources, so which resources ensure safety. So this is about respecting our own boundaries just as much as anything else, and I'd love to do a video on what I think that means, because boundaries are these things that we have to kind of tap into with ourselves. And so this manifestation should be coming for us as long as we're willing to uphold and respect our own boundaries and synthesize, if we're talking about those limiting beliefs, self-limiting beliefs, so we're willing to synthesize our old selves and our new selves. And for me, that's often a conversation, is saying, like, I see my inner child not wanting to set this boundary, but if we don't set this boundary, then this is the consequence of that. And having that conversation and saying, so I really want to do this thing. I want to know what it would take to make you feel safe, though. Like, I don't want to force you, because I don't want to be like the parent that, did that to me, that forced me to violate my own boundaries. I don't want to force my inner child to violate their boundaries. And those boundaries still exist, even though I'm not a child anymore. My inner child still holds those boundaries. And in order for that boundary to be, like that belief, to be changed, and that boundary to be opened, like, or that, maybe it's my inner child's tendency to violate a boundary. So therefore that pattern or whatever, those things have to be respected and all too. So to me, like I said, it's always a conversation. For me, I like to meditate and have a conversation, and I'll invite my inner child to, essentially come and sit with me, and I'll have a conversation and say, what is it you need me to know? What is it you need me to do? What is it how can I make you feel safe? What's the worry here? What's the concern? because those are things that I didn't get as a child. I didn't have someone sit with me and do those things to check in with me about what my boundaries were and to teach me how to do that. So those are things that I'm still doing with that inner child, and that's that process of reparenting. And perhaps that's something that you're going through as well, or perhaps you're dealing with boundaries in an external way. This could be dealing with, manifesting physical resources, could be manifesting a new job, and dealing with boundaries with coworkers, with yourself, with overworking yourself. This could be dealing with boundaries with dating, with relationships, with, a multitude of things, with your children, because this is emotional. This is cups being about like platonic love typically, but it could be a platonic love that it could be a romantic love. It could be just noticing like those deep connections and how we how boundaries are not just they're not things we do to other people. They're things that we do for ourselves, and the people that really love us can understand that. It may take time. It may take, some space and understanding, some conversation, but that is something that can happen. And then this could be, again, about synthesizing in that emotional sense. This is, again, with 2 cups, synthesizing our emotions with others' emotions. So if we're trying to hold our boundaries and keep our confidence, and we're not willing to let that shake, but we're also still trying to synthesize possibly ourselves within this world. So we're trying to find a way that we can find our own sense of belonging, not necessarily that we can find a way to fit in, but that we can find a way to feel that we aren't the only person who is experiencing what we're experiencing, or something that we're experiencing. It doesn't have to be everything, and it may not be one person. This is something I think is interesting and important to point out, is that it may not be one person who can relate to a whole checklist of things. You may have 10 people who can relate to 10 different parts of you, and you're synthesizing how to fill your cups through those relationships. I mean, you have 9 cups and 10 people, that's not such a difficult thing. Can we clarify this temperance card, Spirit? Will you clarify the temperance for us? Remember, I said that takes inner strength and being willing to look at how we add value. And when I see that sun as an inner work thing, that's the theme I'm thinking of is how do we add value? We got the Page of Wands reversed. So this is kind of resisting commitment, committing to taking action. So maybe you want to manifest the 10 of Cups, and whatever that is, community, family, work, whatever it is that fulfills you, because it could be work within a community. It could be, something of that nature. But there's a little bit of fear of taking that action. And this is again, that it's Page of Wands. So it's, minor arcana card. It's not quite as intense as this Temperance that's coming up for us here, this major arcana card. But this, to me, it's saying I don't want to say we're flaky, but we may be coming across as flaky. I think that might be the message, is that it's not necessarily that we are being non-committed. It's perhaps that we're taking more time to commit to something. So maybe this is a time where we're still visualizing that manifestation and still just spending more time healing and synthesizing on a personal level before we really go out into the world to act. So that could be a decided, we're not ready to take action yet, and that's fine. But it also could be that we're holding ourselves back, that we're resisting that, and so therefore, resisting the progression. I didn't show you the Page of Wands, but the Page of Wands then resisting, going on to the Knight and the Queen and the King to embodiment and action with that wand. So let's ask for more clarification here. Tell us more about the Ace of Pentacles, Spirit. What about the Ace of Pentacles? Oof, surrender. I love this because I just explained this card to my niece yesterday, and the Hanged One and a lot of decks will have coins underneath them because their coins have fallen out of their pockets, and they're then like looking at everything with this different perspective, especially their money. Now something that was extremely valuable to them, it's now laying on the ground, it's scattered around, and they're just little circles. They're just little, things to look at. And so there's this idea of enlightenment. That's why they have this halo. And they are, they're pausing, they're surrendering. So that's the thing is that we don't have to do, again, this Ace of Pentacles, like I said the first time, is we don't have to do a whole lot. But this is about like contemplation, about going with the flow, not forcing things. So perhaps that's a boundary that we have to maintain with ourselves. That's this Nine of Cups, again, the boundaries, but saying like instead of external boundaries, it's a boundary with ourselves to allow this manifestation to happen, to believe it, to believe that it's there, that it exists, that it's already there. Like if you're manifesting $10,000, $10,000 already exists in the world. It hasn't come to you yet, but it exists in the world. And you can also believe that it's earmarked for you. It's already there somewhere, and it's got your name on it as a destination that's coming up really soon. But the pathway hasn't been opened yet. And this is just saying, don't force things, let things go. Hang out here for a while, and keep those boundaries, keep respecting those boundaries. Such an interesting read. Spirit, do you have any more messages for us, for the collective? Any more inner work messages? I saw the Ten of Cups come up. The Hanged One, the number is 12, and the Temperance, the number is 14. 14 reduces down to 5, which deals with change. So this is like the synthesis of change. And 12 comes down to 3, which deals with like community. That's the word that comes to mind for me, is community. I have my numerology stuff right here, though, actually. Yeah, 3 would be the Empress. So it's like abundance. Creativity, expression, growth, social gatherings, connection. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Creatrix. So that's the thing is that like this manifestation will come with this energy of surrendering. I don't like to overuse that word, but it's more than just surrender. Let's see what my book says here. It's like release. Oh, I love this one I wrote. I knew there was something significant. When we most want to act, that is when we should wait. I think that was a quote again from Thich Nhat Hanh, but I could be wrong. It could be someone from Plum Village. I listen to the Plum Village app. But this is, I'm not a fan of shoulds, but it's this idea that if we have a strong desire to act, it could be that action might be feeling triggered by being bored. And so that action could be a way to add excitement to our lives, and that excitement might not be the most well thought out plan. Or it may not be what we need at that time. It could be something else. What other messages do you have for us, Spirit? For inner work for the collective. Hierophant kind of stuck out there for a second, but didn't come all the way out. That keeps coming up, so I'm going to go with that one. 7 of Wands. So Seven of Wands came out one other time, but it came out with like a bunch stacked behind it, which usually is just like Spirit's like, I can't get through what I want to say with one card. So the other cards that came were like the Sun card. Sun card came out, which is like inner child, ego work stuff. Four of Swords, reversed, inverted, so this could be like resisting rest, and that's really painful for us right now. And an Eight of Cups, straight up, and that has the moon in it, and so this is like change, wealth that comes from willing to kind of like seek out something new, some kind of adventure, travel, pardon me. And the Seven of Wands is about taking action. It's like precise and really, I'm gonna look at the skin, like it's about like risk taking, but also like being really kind of thought out about it. Like if we're not thinking about it, we could find ourselves in a state of like being aggressive and like whatever, but it can also deal with like having convictions and being really passionate about something. So it can be that well thought out action, but I would say it's more passion than about being about the action. This card, I had that a little bit mixed up, but this is more about how do we deal with the parts of ourselves that rebel against like our inner child and our inner teenager, and you can have multiple versions of each of those. How do these parts of us rebel against our higher self or our who we are right now, like like we're an adult or whatever you want to consider yourself. But how do we like still rebel? How is there a part of us that's still acting in defiance rather than obedience of what our higher self is trying to manifest for us? Because that's what's getting in the way of this manifestation, is this like if this is about a challenge, which that's what is coming to me, because we might have convictions that are self-limiting beliefs that really are more about keeping that part of us protected than manifesting this reality that we're looking for. And so, maybe this is a way of saying we might need to find a new way of dealing with our aggression, and continue working through why things trigger us, and knowing that part of ourselves much better, so that again, that we're not violating those boundaries within ourselves. And that if there's a boundary or a belief that is like over, it's just done and over, and we don't really like need to hold on to it anymore, we need to explore it still in order to be able to let go of it. And so this is, 7 is always the number of like contemplation, retreat, go away. You don't have to fight. You don't have to take, like that's such an interesting thing that this one always confuses me, the Seven of Wands, because it's about, the Seven of Wands are about like action and risk-taking and spirituality and things of that nature, and creativity, and the 7 is about retreat and being willing to like, not quite hermit, but it's about getting like a different, let's see what my list says about 7. It's like, like exploring, like what is that? Contemplation, inner exploration. So that could be the solution. That's what I always take it as whenever I have minor arcana cards. If I'm looking for a solution or another pathway through it, it will be a lot of times that number, like the Chariot, would be what would guide us. So what can we look at in the Chariot? That spirituality, this like integration of parts, willpower. It's about how we act integrated. It's about how we are integrated, and therefore that impacts our actions, you know? Like, it's not about the integration and how that impacts us internally. It's about the integration and how that impacts things externally around us. And so this, like, 7 card is like, you know, how do we, like, reflect and assess what we're doing and how we're acting and behaving, creating our confidence, you know, things like that. And to me that says to kind of take a step back, retreat, and possibly head towards that, you know, hermit mode, because that is what's, you know, coming up. Is that the next thing is we you know, go through like regeneration process and then go into that hermit mode. Is the 9 would be the hermit. So, you know, borrowing from that, I think that's all that I've got for you all today. I'm getting kind of tired now, so I'm going to close out the messages here. And we thank you, Spirit, for your service to our benefit, and we pray for protection and blessings over you. I pray for protection and blessings over all of you out there as well. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate your support and love for the channel, for me, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.